What's up, everybody? Today's the day. We are finally going to get that BMW up on the lift and figure out what's going on. So just a little bit of background. First, I'm going to start out with what we're going to do with this channel. This is if you're watching this, you're either just starting to watch my channel, or hopefully we're years down the road and I've got millions of subscribers and you're going back to see the video that started it all. So either way, that's it's pretty cool. So the purpose, what I intend to do with this video, or this channel, is I have been obsessed with cars my entire life. My day job and my business is accounting and finance, so it really has nothing to do with cars. What I've decided to do is set up a channel where I can kind of express some of that obsession that I have with cars and motorcycles and anything with an engine, and share that with people and entertain people, maybe inspire some people. Because what we're going to do, one of the things that we're going to do with this channel, and it's what we're going to do today, is we're going to flip cars. So a few months back, and we're dealing with this coronavirus, so this flip has kind of gone wrong every different way that it could. So we're trying to navigate this as best we can. But back in February, I'm filming this in May, actually almost June. Back in February, I was on Copart looking at actually an 08 Honda Accord that I was going to buy, clean it up, fix it up, flip it. That auction was in the Pittsburgh, one of the Pittsburgh yards, and it turned out that the person that bought it ended up buying it for more money than I was comfortable spending on that car. I knew where it needed to be in order to make money on it, especially if it was going to need some work. And I think that the person that bought it was probably buying it to keep it, because they're really, if anything was wrong with that car, there was no money left to make. So I bailed on that car, but I was watching the auction, and I saw that later in the auction was this 2013 BMW 328 Xi, xDrive, all-wheel drive, with a clean Pennsylvania title. The body looked great. The interior's dirty, but cleanable. There's no tears or anything like that in the leather. It was real leather. I ran, while I was waiting for it to get on the auction block, I ran a Carfax on it. I did a VIN lookup to pull a window sticker to see exactly what the car was all about, and it was nice. It was promising. It's a 2-liter turbo, 4-cylinder, 328. It has the actual Dakota leather, the tan Dakota leather, not the pleather, leatherette, whatever BMW calls it. So it's the real leather interior. It's just it has the comfort access package, so it has the keyless start and keyless entry. You just have the key in your pocket. So that was cool. The listing said that it had it had undercarriage damage, and Copart doesn't give you details of anything, but I'm looking at it and thinking there were no bumpers, there was no damage to the bumper. The wheels were all straight. I thought, and the exhaust pipe was sitting straight. I could see the back picture. The exhaust pipe was right where it was supposed to be. So I thought, I wonder how severe that undercarriage damage really is. So the listing said that it had a key. It did not list that it ran and drove, but it was a clean title car. Typically, of an undercarriage damage, if they maybe knocked a hole in the oil pan or something, that it wouldn't run and drive. So I wasn't super concerned about that. I was hopeful, but the price was right, and I knew that there was room in there. So it was a little bit of a risk, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to take a stab at this and give it a shot. And we're just today, because of everything that's been going on, going to be able to get it up onto the lift to see what is actually wrong with this thing and see how bad it is, and if there is actually any money to be made with this car. Since then, though, we've been dealing with hurdles with this build. So first of all, the car shows up at the shop with no key. So the listing clearly says that there was a key, and however, the picture of the car in the interior, if anybody that is ever, if anybody's ever watched a Copart auction, will know that most of the time they zip tie a key to the steering wheel. You can always see it on the bottom of the steering wheel. Well, this picture you couldn't see it, but the listing said keys yes. So I didn't think anything of it. I just assumed that there was going to be a key there. The tow guy, my tow driver, picked it up, brought it to the shop, and then let me know that there was actually no key. So I called Copart. Their terms and conditions basically say that they have absolutely no responsibility at all. That the listing is what it is, and they don't claim any responsibility of the accuracy of the ad. So I was pretty much out of luck, and they insisted that, well, it's not in the picture, there must not have been a key. However, you know, I know a guy that tows for Copart, and he explained to me the process, and basically if they pick up a car, it's all done by an app, and when they pick up a car, it'll ask them specifically, is there a key? And if they click the yes button, they can't get any further in the process until they take a picture of the key. So if it said yes on the website, there is a picture somewhere floating around Copart's database of my key. Not really like it does me any good, but I know that there was a key at some point, but it's neither here nor there. So I started looking around. I called a BMW dealer. I found that I could get a key with a key blade cut for my car for a little over $400, which stinks. Whenever you're trying to make a profit, $400 could make this car non-profitable now. But you know, it is what it is. I got to buy a key. Now, typically it wouldn't be a big deal. I would already have this key, but the problem is that I can't order it until I have a title in hand with my name on it. Well, with this coronavirus stuff, Pennsylvania Department of Transportation has been completely shut down for months. All right, everybody, so this is the BMW. As you can see, we got a tow hook hanging out the front of it because it doesn't run, but it's in pretty good shape. If you take a look, the body has pretty much no damage to it at all. There's a bump here. You can see there's some scrapes here on the front bumper. Wheels need cleaning, but are in pretty good shape. But overall, the car's pretty clean. I mean, clean as far as damage wise. There's no dents, there's no dings. As you can see, like I mentioned earlier, the exhaust is sitting really nice where it's supposed to be. So I really don't think that there's any major undercarriage damage. In fact, by just taking a look at it, it actually looks like part of our initial, we haven't gotten under it yet, but just taking a look at it whenever the driver dropped it off, it looks like the damage may have actually happened at Copart. Because if you look at the thing here, see if I can get this to focus, it says loss type normal wear, which typically means that when this car got picked up, there was nothing wrong with this car. And what I think actually happened was, you know, if you know anything about Copart, typically they move cars around. They actually do it with a forklift. So I think that what happened was the car actually got damaged by somebody with a forklift. There's actually a part in the trunk that's the undershield that protects the motor. It was sitting in the trunk when we got the car. So I think that actually might have been what happened. But if you take a look in here, I mean, you can see it's filthy. It's real dirty. We're gonna get that all cleaned up. That's the least of my worries. I mean, I think there's some pet hair in there. There's some dirt on the top. I mean, it's pretty filthy. This car was definitely used and abused as far as the interior. Honestly, I think that the person that owned this car should kind of be ashamed of themselves. They're kind of a pig. But it's okay. This stuff all cleans up. But, you know, all the manuals are in here. It's actually pretty nice. So this has the cold weather package. You can tell that because it has the heated seats in the back right here. You can see. So that's pretty cool. That should be a helpful selling feature. I don't think the chewed up french fries on the floor are definitely going to be a selling feature, but we're going to have to do some serious cleaning in here for sure. The toolkit doesn't look like there's a whole lot left of the toolkit, but we got to get back in the trunk, which means we're going to have to actually crawl back there and hit that little, pull that lever. But we'll do that once I can get in and get some tools. But I'm going to show you the motor. Okay, so, you know, everything looks good in here. It looks complete. There doesn't look like there's anything missing, which is a good thing. The one thing that we noticed whenever we took it, when we did a little inspection once it got here, is that there is something in here. I don't know if you can see that. There's some like blue grease in there. We're not really sure what they were doing with that. We're kind of thinking that this car may end up needing a motor, which would be a big problem. If it doesn't, we're thinking that maybe it just has a timing chain issue. These cars are notorious for bad timing chains, and a timing chain going bad would be really, really noisy. So we're hoping that maybe the person that was trading this car in put a bunch of grease in there to try to quiet down the timing chain. If that's the case, then we're going to have to get that all cleaned out. We're going to replace the chain. And that would actually, surprisingly to say, adding a timing chain to this car would actually be the better option. The motors for this car are about $4,000. So we're really, really trying not to do that. That's going to greatly impact the profitability of this car. So windshield's nice. All the glass looks good. The mirrors are intact. There's not even really any chips on the paint. There's no door dings. I mean, as dirty as the inside of this car is, the outside's really not bad. The car's been sitting a little while, so you can see there's some rust on the rotors. The wheels are kind of gummed up, but I'm not sure if that's just dirt or if that's going to end up being some stuff that we're going to have a hard time getting off. May have to try to, I don't know, may end up having to replace the wheels. I don't know. We'll see. I've been watching other ones to see if maybe we can get a part car, but we're going to try to get it up in the air, see where we're at, and see what it's going to cost, and try to get a game plan. So
So that's the cylinder head and the valve with all the metal all over it. That's the cylinder wall, which is f***ing destroyed.
Wow.
All the way down. And that's the wrist pin. That there should be a top of a piston there.
Oh.
And there's no piston.
Okay.
So there's a connecting rod. That's the piston pin right there.
Yeah.
That's the connecting rod.
And there's no piston.
And there's no piston.
All right.
So that's all cylinder wall right there. That's all destroyed.
Okay.
So
All right, so everything else is good. We got it hooked up to some power. All the switches work. Everything works, all the lights work. The stereo works. So, as of right now, we've got the xDrive working. We've got everything running here. Obviously the motor's not on because we need an engine. But so as it turns out, we need a motor. Fortunately, we found the key. It turns out in this little cubby hole right here, you can see that. You can see this little cubby hole right here. Okay, this piece goes inside it. Okay, just like this. And I was looking at this and thought, this looks like it opens. And I pulled on this, and it's the cup holders. And the key was sitting right down in there, just like that. So, pulled it out. We have a key. That's huge. That's huge as far as timing, as well as for the cost. So that key's worth like $400 or $500. So that saved us from having to do that. We're not going to have to do that. I'm just checking. Yeah, all the electronic mirrors work. The sunroof works. So we got power on the sunroof. All the windows are working. So that's great news. That's all great news. So other than the engine not working, we have a blown piston. We were able to confirm. Besides that, which is obviously the most important part of the car, everything else works. So we're going to figure out what we have to do to order a motor. And I found one that's got like 75,000 miles on it. It's not too far from here. That looks like it might work out. The problem with this car is there are a lot of different variations of the motor. So this particular BMW 328 has an N20 motor. This car can have an N20. It could also have an N26. The N26 has more restrictive emissions equipment on it. I think it was probably primarily designed to go to like California. Here in Pennsylvania, a lot of them are N20s. Unfortunately, the N20 is the more expensive motor. But it is neither here nor there. The other problem is that the N20 can be in the 320i or the 328i. The 320i, it's detuned to a lower horsepower rating. So, you know, trying to find one with decent miles at a decent price that came out of a 328 or equivalent is going to be a little bit challenging, but I think we found one. So we're going to order that, and hopefully it comes within the next I don't know, week or two, and we can start pulling the motor out of this car and get her back up and running. So we got to change the motor. We're going to change the brakes and rotors, the pads and rotors. They're pretty bad. We're going to need 4 tires. The back tires are snow tires. The front tires are pretty bald. So we're going to get rid of the tires completely, put 4 fresh tires on it, pads and rotors. We had it up in the air. There's nothing wrong down there. There's a couple little scrapes. It looked like maybe they ran over something, but nothing nothing needs fixed. Everything is great. There's just some scuffs, which is going to be par for the course for any sort of Western Pennsylvania car. So that's all going to be good. Right now I have it on a battery charger because I can't get it started, obviously, with the motor being the way it is. So we have it on a battery charger just so that I can go through and make sure that all this stuff works. I wonder if I can get the air conditioner to blow, to see if it'll blow cold. Let's get a max AC. Yeah, it looks like this is all working good. It's awesome. It's pretty exciting. Everything seems to be good. So it needs a motor, it needs brakes, pads and rotors, it needs tires. We already drained the oil out of it, so we're going to put fresh oil, all fresh fluids in it, and then it needs a major detail, scrubbed inside and out, polished, and the wheels need some cleaning, and we're going to go all out on that. So I will keep everybody up to date on the progress, and this is going to be a fun build. But I think that we're actually we could end up being okay with this, because it really, I mean, obviously the motor's blown, but I think I got it cheap enough that we should be able to replace the motor and still have a little bit of profit left at the end. Ultimately, it would have been better off if I didn't need to put a motor in this car, but it could have been a lot worse. We could have been dealing with issues with the rear end. We could have been dealing with, because it said undercarriage damage, but it definitely could have been a lot worse. So I think we're going to be okay. So I'm going to document the process with this car, and we're going to talk about all the steps along the way, and we're going to turn this thing into a profitable flip. So let's see what else what we can do here.